Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are stepping into what I like to call a high-stakes accounting mystery. If you've ever worked in a multinational company, you know that determining functional currency under US GAAP, specifically ASC 830, can be highly judgmental. It's kind of crazy, honestly. It's one of those scenarios where auditors, FP&A, Treasury, tax, and controllers can literally all look at the exact same data and completely disagree. It's an absolute detective story full of competing indicators, and today, we're going to solve it together using the clues right in front of us.
So here is the ultimate hook question that drops us right into the core conflict of our cross-border scenario, CAD or USD. I want you to imagine a company with mixed revenue currencies, fully integrated North American operations, and US ownership, but grounded really heavily in Canadian day-to-day activity. Do you report functional operations in the Canadian dollar or the US dollar? Choosing the wrong path here doesn't just mean a quick slap on the wrist from an auditor. No way. It dictates how millions of dollars of currency fluctuations flow through your financial statements.
To untangle this whole complex US GAAP standard together, here's our path. We'll start with the dilemma, move to the ASC 830 framework, conduct the investigation, look at deciding operational autonomy, dive into the reporting consequences, and finish up with the real-world verdict. All right, part 1, the dilemma.
This setup brilliantly illustrates the tension we're dealing with. In our real-world case study, our local currency is CAD, but our reporting currency is USD. Sales are a messy mix of CAD and USD, with the major customers sitting right there in the US. However, the employees, the actual manufacturing plants, the payroll, and the operating costs, those are all solidly CAD. Meanwhile, ownership is US private equity and funding is mostly USD debt with just some CAD lines of credit sprinkled in. Do you see the problem here? We have a massive split. The ownership, reporting, and customer base are pulling us hard towards the US dollar, while the ground-level operations and costs are totally anchoring us to the Canadian dollar.
Moving on to part 2, the ASC 830 framework.
Okay, let's dive into this. US GAAP doesn't just ask for your gut feeling on this stuff. It actually requires a highly structured assessment of primary and secondary indicators. To get to the bottom of our CAD versus USD dilemma, we're going to use this framework as our magnifying glass and walk through 4 distinct steps. First, we examine the revenue side. Second, we look closely at the cost structure. Third, we weigh the financing. And finally, step 4, we determine operational autonomy. These are the exact steps auditors take, and they are exactly what we're going to do right now.
Section 3, the investigation. Let's get into the weeds.
Put on your detective hats because it's time to apply our accounting framework directly to the specific evidence in our manufacturing scenario. First clue, step 1, the revenue side. In our facts, we noted that sales are both CAD and USD, and the major customers are in the US. Now, at first glance, this pushes us somewhat toward a USD functional currency, and that's especially true if pricing is negotiated in USD, if contracts are indexed to USD, or if margins are managed in USD. But here is something you absolutely must remember. Customer geography alone just isn't enough. The real question is what currency actually drives pricing economics. For example, if you have a US customer, but you invoice them in CAD, well, that still might support a CAD functional currency. So revenue gives us a hint, but the case isn't closed yet.
Let's move to step 2 and see how this builds our case. We're looking at the cost structure. In our scenario, the employees are paid in CAD, the physical plants are located in Canada, and the day-to-day operations run in Canada. This strongly supports the CAD functional designation. Why? Because your labor, your utilities, overhead manufacturing activities, taxes, leases, they're all CAD-based. When you're dealing with manufacturing companies, the cost structure is literally the heavyweight of the entire assessment. It often completely dominates the analysis. Honestly, it's essentially our smoking gun pointing right at the Canadian dollar.
Step 3 focuses on financing. We know there's private equity ownership, USD funding, and some CAD lines of credit. Now sure, this supports the USD somewhat, but under ASC 830, financing is usually just considered a secondary indicator. It only really takes the steering wheel if the local operations are heavily dependent on USD parent funding and simply cannot operate independently. In our scenario, it's a valid clue, for sure, but it shouldn't overrule the primary economics of what's happening on the factory floor.
Which brings us to Section 4, deciding operational autonomy.
We've looked at revenue, cost, and financing. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is we have to answer the ultimate decisive factor. Is this a truly independent operation or merely a manufacturing extension of the US parent? Let's draw a clear line in the sand. Look at Case A, the independent Canadian business. If you have Canadian management, Canadian budgeting, local payroll, purchasing, and localized operational decisions, then CAD functional is very likely, even if the customers are mostly US and the debt is USD. This setup is incredibly common. But compare that to case B, the US-centric economic operation. If pricing is strictly controlled by the US parent, margins are managed in USD, production is scheduled in the US, cash is immediately swept back across the border, and the Canadian entity is essentially just a contract manufacturer, well then USD functional becomes far more likely. The independence of the operation totally tips the scales.
Section 5. The reporting consequences. Now you might be wondering, why are we fighting so hard over a simple currency label? Well, because choosing the right path matters immensely. It radically alters your ERP systems, your balance sheet, and your P&L. If you determine the entity is CAD functional, you get to use the current rate translation method. That means accounts receivable, accounts payable, inventory, and fixed assets are all translated at the current rate, and the FX impact sits quietly over an OCI, other comprehensive income. It's super clean operationally. But if you declare it USD functional, you're forced to use the temporal method. Now suddenly, your inventory is held at historical rates. Your fixed assets are historical. Your prepaids are historical. While AR and AP are current. And the biggest kicker? Those FX gains and losses hit your earnings directly. It creates a massive amount of P&L volatility.
Let's be real for a second about the downstream pain this causes for FP&A teams. If you go USD functional, you are inviting incredible headaches. ERP complexity goes absolutely through the roof. Inventory accounting becomes notoriously difficult because of tracking those historical rates. FX volatility hits EBITDA and earnings directly, meaning your manufacturing margins become incredibly noisy. Variance analysis? That becomes so much harder. You often find yourself needing to build out constant currency reporting, operational FX adjustments, and remeasurement exclusions just to understand how the business actually performed. This is exactly why auditors require incredibly strong justification to go the USD functional route if your day-to-day operational costs are primarily CAD. Finally, Section 6, the real-world verdict.
We've gathered the evidence, we've weighed the indicators, and we've seen the massive consequences. It's time to close the case on our Canadian manufacturer. When you strip away all the complexity, the single biggest question auditors look at for manufacturing companies is simply this: what currency primarily drives operating margins? It is not about ownership, it's not about the reporting currency, it's not even about the customer location alone. It is all about the driver of those margins.
So, the crucial point is our verdict: CAD functional. Based on the facts, the plants are in Canada, the employees are paid in CAD, the operating infrastructure is CAD, and we have mixed sales currencies, the operational economics are still fundamentally CAD-driven. Yes, the financing is heavily USD and the reporting is USD, but the true heartbeat of the business margin is Canadian. For Canadian manufacturers owned by US parents, it is usually CAD functional unless operations are highly integrated, centrally controlled, and completely lack economic independence.
We've solved today's mystery, but I think it opens up a whole new line of questioning for your own business. Take a hard look at your own corporate structure. Are your cross-border operations truly independent entities driving their own economics, or are they just a glorified extension of the parent company? How you answer that question might just change the way your entire business reports its bottom line. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking those tough questions, and I'll catch you next time.